Hey everyone, it's Jessica here, and I'm super excited to be back with the Peartree Cutfiles design team. Today I'm using the June cut file that says Best Dad. I am going to pull out a background piece of paper from Coco Vanilla Studios Great Escape collection, and I'm just putting down some white gesso on the background paper just to make a nice base to hold some mixed media. So if you haven't watched any of my videos before, the gesso, when you apply that to your layout and let that dry, it just gives a nice base to hold some liquid mediums on there so it doesn't warp up your paper too bad, and it also creates movement with your mixed media, so it will allow paint to blend and kind of run together, whereas if you just applied it directly to the paper itself, it would just soak it right up. So I've got my photo here that I'm using today of my husband and my one son when we took a trip to the zoo, and this was in like a little section of the zoo. It's a super cute little section where the polar bears are. And that's one of my favorite sections of the zoo, and I love getting their photo by this little sign, and it's just super cute. So I'm going to use that today, and I am going to just add some layers with some various scraps from this collection. I have just scraps from other layouts laying here that I'm just pulling. This was a little border strip from a Spellbinder's border die, and I had that already cut out, so I just trimmed it down to fit my photo and glued it down in place. And then I am just ripping a section of this off to use at the top to act like another layer is completely behind my photo. But I love to layer up my photos and use a lot of different patterns around them. That's kind of my go-to thing lately. So this is how I'm doing that in this one. And then here is just a little pocket card that I'm just roughing up the edges on. I'm just going to fold that little corner and stick it to the top, so it's just peeking out there. It is going to overlap my cut file a little bit. So the cut file is rather large, and I think I bumped it down a little bit, but I can't remember what size it actually was, but it's going to actually overlay my cut file, but I can still tell what it says, and I'm sure everybody else can too. So I've got some Shimmerz paints here that I'm pulling out in 3 different colors today. My baby girl is driving her little tractor or a truck or something. I think it's a little truck, monster truck, on my table. You can see it there coming into the frame at the bottom right, so enjoy her. And I am just using the packaging technique to actually smush some of this color onto that gessoed area, and I'm just going to continue adding the colors and kind of working them in together and blending them. And I do come back and forth to this a few times, just letting this dry in between. I think it took me 2 or 3 days to do this layout, just because time's sake and kids and family time, and it's crazy around here. It's summer, we're super busy, and I wanted to let these layers dry because you all know that I am a super impatient person when it comes to letting things dry. So I literally just kind of plopped some layers down and some color every time I'd walk by it and add some more colors and layers to it and then walk away. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm adding another color here. I think this is the Pull Me Close color, if I remember right. I love that blue. I just think it's so gorgeous. And then I just kind of started pulling it right there. So I just dabbed up a little bit of the excess with a paper towel. And I'm also doing splatters kind of as I go in the different colors. So I'm dabbing up the pulley areas where there's a lot of color and I don't want a whole lot, kind of blending them together with my paintbrush and water, just working them all together. And then just adding little bit more here and there. So I'm just getting it to where I like it and where the colors are kind of everywhere where I want them to be. I kind of wanted to fill up that gessoed area, but I didn't want it completely covered because I still like some of that white kind of peeking out. I like the way that looks. So I'm just moving my paper back and forth. I like to pick up the paper and kind of work it in and just move the paper side to side and up and down and just kind of let it all run together, and it just creates such beautiful color. So that's pretty much what it's gonna look like. I'm gonna let that dry, and here I came back the next day. This is again when I'm walking by it, I'm like, I want to add some white splatter to that. So I'm just watering down some white acrylic paint here. Nothing fancy, just super simple. Just watering it down with my paintbrush so it's a texture that I can flick on with my paintbrush and create some splatter just to break up that color a little bit and create that marbled look. Now, if you wanted it to be a little bit more blendable and create an actual marbled look, and not a strict splatter look like I have here, you would do that when it's still wet. So here you can see that paint has dried. That's what it's going to look like. I am going to leave it as is and start working on my cut file at this point. So I'm just going to pull out again some scraps from this Great Escape collection, and I'm using the smaller paper pad and some scraps that I had from other layouts in my stash here. I wanted to make one of those little pocket card, those cut apart pieces work inside one of those D's, but they're a little bit too small for my cut file, so it didn't work out for this one. But I'm going to just go ahead and back this cut file manually. Basically what I'm going to do today to back this is just glue down my cut file directly to my pattern papers and then just trim off the excess. I do that. The other way that I do that sometimes to back my cut files is I take the negative piece from my cut file or from my cutting mat laying there on the left, and I just cut out an outline around them. I just kind of use them as a template. I lay it down onto my pattern paper, just cut out around them a little bit bigger so I have room to glue it to my back side of my cut file, if that makes sense. And you guys, I'm sure if you've watched my videos before, you've seen me back cut files, so I'm going to speed this up here in a second because I pretty much do all the same way on these. So it took the liberty to cut out the section of this video when I'm doing a whole bunch of fussy cutting too, because I cut out a whole bunch of those little stars from that star paper there laying on my table. So I'm just gluing them down. I kind of arranged them along with my mixed media and to go up and down the layout kind of in that vertical design. And I'm going to go ahead and stick my cut file down at this point because it's pretty much where I want it to go. I like to use the Nuvo Deluxe adhesive because it dries clear and I don't have to worry about it peeking out if I make a mess with it, which I often do at times. So, and it sticks pretty good too. I'm having really good luck with that in using it over time and it being in my books. So nothing's falling out or falling out of place. So it seems to be holding up nicely in my albums. I've got these little cut apart pieces that I'm just adding to my photo here. I'm going to add some more stars. I'm going to actually pop some of these up with some 3D foam squares, and then I'll add a couple little more wordy bits to this. I want something that says that this is at the zoo, because if you look at this, you don't really realize that that's where we are or what we were doing. Of course, it'll go in order chronologically and date order in my book, so I'll know and everybody that's looking will know, but to look at just this layout you have no clue that we're at the zoo. So I'm going to actually pull out a little sticker book by Simple Stories. They have a nice little zoo collection, so I'm going to just pull that out here towards the end and add a couple little stickers that say about the zoo, probably at the top of my cut file. So I've grabbed a couple little flare epoxy, or not epoxy, these are the canvas flares from the shop. I'm not sure if those ones are still in stock or not. I'll have to check, but if they are, I'll link them below for you in case you want to grab them from the Peartree shop. But I'm just going to use a couple of those on my layout today. It was from like a little adventure camping pack, and I'm going to tuck some thread in behind those using some glue dots, and I'm going to add a few more stars. I know, crazy, it's hard to believe I'm going to add even more stars to this, you guys, but I'm going to add a few more. And I added one in the middle of the actual star of the cut file too, because I just thought that looked super cute. So I also have these little puffy stickers. I'm going to kind of add some of those in there just to stagger them around my layout as well. And here's my foam stickers from Squares coming in that I'm popping up some of these stars with. And yeah, I'm just going to add a couple more little things, and I'm going to pop some music in here so I can stop rambling at this point. And I'll link everything below for you if you want to grab anything from the shop. here's the finished layout, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you've enjoyed watching my process. I hope I've inspired you to create something today. I'm going to link everything in the description below that I've used in case you want to grab anything from any of the shops. So thank you guys, as always, for watching. Thanks for being here. I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.